We have 6 bills before us today. The first 4 of 6 bills are ease regulatory burdens on the city's small businesses and represent recommendations to the city's regulatory review panel established by our administration, the City Council, to scrutinize city regulations and how they are developed and make recommendations to recast them, eliminate unnecessary obstacles that hinder business growth, and enhance public participation in rulemaking. Introductory number 494A is sponsored by Council members Rania, Comrie, Koo, Mendez, Rose, Wills, Ballone, Gentili, Arroyo, Levin, Drum, Eugenie, King, Rodriguez, Barron, Gennaro, Greenfield, Jackson, Landers, Williams, and Halloran. This bill requires a number of city agencies to engage in a review of the violations they issue to determine if opportunities exist for business owners to correct violations before they are assessed, otherwise known as a cure period, and issue a report to the mayor and speaker on their findings in 120 days. Introductory number 941A is sponsored by Council members Brewer, who just showed up, Jackson, Chin, Gentili, Gonzalez, James, Koo, Capel, Mendez, Palmer, Recchia, Rose, Williams, Lappin, Arroyo, Vallone, Rania, Levin, Drum, Van Bremer, Barron, Eugene, Gennaro, Greenfield, and Ulrich. This bill requires the Mayor's Office of Operations to develop a standardized customer service training curriculum for agencies to use in training their inspectors. Introductory number 942A is sponsored by Council members Comrie, Arroyo, Gentili, James, Koo, Palmer, Rose, Williams, Vallone, Rania, Levin, Drum, Eugene, King, Rodriguez, Barron, Gennaro, and Greenfield. This bill requires a number of agencies to designate a liaison to work with the communities they regulate. And the fourth introductory number 956 is sponsored by Council members Koslowitz, who's here first, I will say, the other. Barron, Chin, Fiddler, Gentili, James, Gonzalez, Koo, Rose, Van Bremer, Williams, Wills, Rodriguez, Vallone, Rania, Arroyo, Drum, Eugene, Gennaro, Greenfield, Jackson, and Ulrich. This bill requires business owners and managers to receive a physical copy of the business owner's Bill of Rights where practicable, required by the city to be developed and distributed pursuant to Local Law 18 of 2010. And I would like to thank Liz Weinstein, Director of the Mayor's Office of Operations, and Takumbo Chabawal, Chief Business Operation Officer, and the agencies who participate in this effort, along with my Office of City Legislative Affairs for their work on these bills, and the City Council for approving this legislation. And now we are going to hear from the City Council members who want to say something, and then from people who do want to say something. We have people signed up? None for these. Okay. Would you like to say something?
Sure. I am happy that this bill is going to be distributed to store owners, many of them not knowing what their rights are, and now they will have it in front of them. I introduced a bill in 2010 that did the Bill of Rights, but the wording, it wasn't worded that you distribute it to the store owners. Now they will be able to physically have it in their hands and obey the laws and try and not get their tickets. Thank you. Thank you for...
Councilwoman?
Thank you very much. I'm Gail Brewer, and I introduced, and we're delighted that we will be passing 941, and that is the bill that gives systemic, consistent training to inspectors. I think that the ABC and that grading system is definitely something that the public likes. I know restaurants find it challenging, but I think they'll find it less challenging if there is a consistent inspection process, and that's what this bill calls for. And I want to thank the Mayor's Office of Operations because they're going to be doing the training and they understand the importance of this. And I also want to thank people who worked on it, certainly the Mayor's staff, but also Rob Newman, David Seltzer, Tim Matisoff, and John Russell in the City Council, and Will Colgrove from my office. I just want to tell you one story, which is a good one. I was in a restaurant near City Hall. I was getting my lunch to go, and in walked a health department inspector, and she threw open her jacket, and there's the Department of Health, and she had all of the proper thermometers and so on. And of course, me being me, I followed her through the kitchen, and she did a great job. She was just terrific. She spoke the language, because part of our legislation says that the inspections need to be culturally appropriate and in a language that the restaurateur understands, and she did a great job. The best part, though, was everybody had to put their hair back, because, you know, that's part of the aspect of inspection. So I lent my hair clip to somebody so they could have a good inspection. So thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Somebody didn't go to the hospital with salmonella because of you. Well done. Full-service city councilwoman.
Thank you.
Councilman Gennaro, would you like to add anything?
Thank you. I just wanted to be here to support Karen and Gail.
Way to go. Now, with the, it is annoying to a lot of restaurant owners, but most will tell you people go to A restaurants more than they go to certainly C restaurants and even B restaurants. And the cases of salmonella in our hospitals went down precipitously, something like 20–25%, as soon as the grades started being given out and restaurant owners understood they have to keep their restaurants healthy and clean. It's annoying for some of them, and there's one restaurant that I used to go to all the time. It has a big C in the window, and I don't go there. I mean, just period. This is something that, and the public does seem to like this. If anybody have anything to add? If not, I will sign all 4 bills. Today is the 23rd.
Today's 23rd. April 423.
Do a poll. How many people have been to a C restaurant in the last 2 weeks?
I probably have.
And to live.
Yeah.
I would suggest you talk to your clergy person.
It's on the corner of Main Street and all.
Oh, the 3-star?
They keep getting closed, that's how bad it is.
Yeah.
I still go.
They're running a bunch of guys, but when
That's
they
closed by the health
when they
department.
make it
Yeah, not
to a
even-
B, they've accomplished something
They've
significant.
closed for a week.
Right.
No C at a great ending.
Still alive.
My favorite Vietnamese restaurant down here was closed, and it reopened in the management for New York or weakness since it reopened.
That's the one on Barclay. I love it. Thank you very much.
Gator, lots of.
Yes, got the full recycle.
Thank you. The next bill before us is introductory number 1032, sponsored at the request of the administration by council members Recchia, Comrie, and Koo. Introductory number 1032 extends the date for the submission of the mayor's proposed executive budget to the city council from April 26, 2013 to May 2, 2013. Extends the date for adoption of the fiscal year 2014 budget from June 5, 2013 to June 12, 2013. Introductory number 1032 also makes corresponding adjustments for other charter mandated actions required during the budget process and for such as the dates for borough president budget responses, independent budget office budget analysis, and the city council executive budget hearings. This action is necessary to allow sufficient time to refine the budget proposal prior to submission to the city council. I want to thank the Office of Management and Budget and the city council. The reason for this is we'll get a lot better data from the federal government and from state government in terms of our tax returns, and we can make a much better gift. And it's only a few days, but it could make a very big difference. So far, our tax returns seem to be, tax revenues seem to be where we projected them, but we want to find out, and a little more information would be helpful. Would you like to add something?
No, actually, I was here before for Karen and Gail, but this is your bill, so I'm just here for you.
Okay, so we have one more bill for you, so just stay by. And the final bill before us today is introductory number 694A, sponsored by Council members Gennaro, Garodnick, Brewer, Fiddler, Gentili, James, Capel, Lander, Mark Viverito, Palmer, Williams, Arroyo, Levin, Drum, Van Bremer, Barron, Eugene, Greenfield, Jackson, Richards, Halloran, and Ulrich. Introductory number 694A requires a study to be undertaken by the Office of Long-Term Planning and Sustainability that explores the feasibility of developing geothermal energy resources in the city. Geothermal energy is stored thermal energy of the earth that is recovered to heat or cool buildings or generate electricity. Installing a geothermal energy system can significantly reduce the carbon footprint of a building or home. The study will include a summary of building characteristics that would be suitable for a retrofit installation of a geothermal system, a summary of federal, state, and city regulations for the installation and operation of a geothermal system, and a map that identifies areas of the city that would be appropriate for geothermal energy systems. The study will also make recommendations to promote the installation and use of geothermal systems in new construction, alterations, and retrofits of buildings. And I want to thank the Director of Long-Term Planning and Sustainability, Serge Manikovsky, Design and Construction Commissioner David Burney, who's with us today, who will also explain why we put scaffolding up on the other end of the building, and their staff for their work on this bill, along with my Office of City Legislative Affairs and the City Council. Now, you would like to say something?
No, David, please. David, please.
Okay.
I'll talk about the scaffolding later, but I'll talk about the bill first. Okay. I first of all want to thank Jim Gennaro for his vision in sponsoring this bill, which is extremely timely, I have to say, mainly because of the amount that we've learned in the last 10 years. Alec Posner on my staff has headed up this in the last decade, and we've learned so much, mainly because of all the ones we've built that didn't work, which proves that failure is a better teacher than success, I guess. But Alex has now become a sort of world authority on geothermal, and because he knows so much how to do it and how not to do it, we published his tome on this last year. And this is the right time to be doing it, and I thank everybody involved, and we look forward to implementing the bill.
Will this explain how it all works?
It will.
Because I'm actually putting a geothermal system in the house I bought.
Seriously?
Yes, absolutely.
This is it. This is it. This is the one.
No, I am. You know, and I understand the concept, but I'd really like to read. There's a simple explanation, is it? I'm not going to read the whole thing. No offense.
Go to executive summary.
Is there a Cliff Notes for the executive summary? That's the level that I'm.
I'll send you some, Geo 101.
Should I just read the executive? Is there one chapter here that
If you call Alex, Alex will give you the
Okay.
the version.
All right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now I'm on. Yeah, no,
Yes,
thank
you're
you. Thank you. And I certainly want to thank you, Mr. Mayor, for your great environmental leadership. It's been a privilege to work closely with the world leader in urban environmental sustainability. It's been terrific. It's coming to an end soon, but we've done a lot of good things, and this is wonderful. And a lot of the things we do at the council, get their start at the City Hall, and we saw this great book that was done, and this was, done primarily for people that are going to be doing work for the city. And we thought that it might make some good sense to write a bigger book, to literally, write the ultimate book on geothermal, and that's, what this bill is all about. And this will be available to the public. And so I want to thank David in a very special way, and his agency and the Office of Long-Term Planning and Sustainability for really getting this started in a very big way, and us taking it like a couple of yards further with the bill that we're doing here. And as has been said before, the geothermal energy is an unlimited, consistent, durable source of energy. The kind of geothermal we're doing in New York City is we're going into the shallow earth and using that constant temperature, between 50 and 60 degrees, as a heat source during the winter, as a heat sink during the summer. And unlike solar or wind energy, it's a constant source of energy. It doesn't depend upon the wind blowing. It doesn't depend upon the sun shining in any particular day. The U.S. EPA has stated that geothermal systems are the most energy efficient, environmentally clean, and cost-effective space conditioning systems that are available, and that's a wonderful thing. It's something that we want to cultivate. It is certainly completely consistent with your vision, Mr. Mayor, of Plan YC, doing everything we can to wean ourselves off fossil fuel and to meet the 30% mandate, not goal, mandate of reducing greenhouse gas emissions, which, as the mayor will tell you, we're way ahead of schedule on, thanks to his good leadership. I'd like to thank folks in the council that were very excited about doing this. We have Samara Swanson, who was like, oh, so excited about doing this bill. And she is wonderful, and she's definitely getting a pen, Mr. Mayor, if I have anything to say about it.
Yeah, you do.
Bill Murray of my staff, who does all of my environmental stuff. I take the credit, but he does the work, and I'm grateful for him. I got Paul Leonard, who's here from my staff, who does all my communications, who reached out to many people on this. We have Rick Bell of the AIA, and of course, like the big building that they put up has a great geothermal system, and they were very, very bullish on this. We have great people from the industry. We have John Reiner and Jack Deanna. I think they're probably going to say something about this, so I'll let them speak for themselves. From the environmental community, we have Isabel Silverman of the Environmental Defense Fund, and Annie Wilson of the Sierra Club, who were very bullish on this as well. But none of this would have happened without the good work that the Bloomberg administration did on putting out this manual. We're just going to take this, we're going to make it bigger, we're going to make it more public, and it's all good. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All right, and we have some people that have signed up. Rick Bell, the American Institute of Architects. Bob Wyman, Upper West Side resident. John D. Endenoff.
Deanna.
Sorry about that. Executive Director, Geothermal Database International Initiative. John Reiner, PW Grosser Consulting and LI Geothermal Energy. Isabel Silverman of EDF, and Paul Real, whose affiliation is SELF. I'm with him.
Rick Bell, Executive Director of the American Institute of Architects New York Chapter. Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Gennaro, I'd like to thank you both for environmental leadership. The ability to do a geothermal system that was publicly financed at our Center for Architecture makes a big difference. I call it free and guilt-free. It's functioned now for almost 10 years. We'll be celebrating our 10th anniversary on October 7th, and we'd very much like to invite you all to be there. Sooner than that, and this is the last thing I'll say, I'm sorry to take more time, we're doing an exhibition that opens during the NYC by Design Festival about design in New York City that will talk about all the environmental initiatives of the administration and how they should be carrying forward for the next 4 or 8 years, forever. Thank you very much.
All I worry about is the next 252 days.
Those two.
Let me just ask all you experts, is there a simple number you can use? What's the payback period?
We did the calculations for our system. Joyce Lee, then of OMB, was part of the board of the AIA doing those calculations, and we figured out that it would certainly be within 3 years. When NYSERDA came through with the grant to pay for the well drilling, which almost 10 years ago was about $100,000 for 2 wells that each go down 1,260 feet, height of the Empire State Building without the antenna, the payback period became about 3 seconds.
Really?
The well drilling was the expensive part. The mechanical distribution system would have been the same. Well drilling has gotten a little bit more expensive. The payback on the well drilling, if there's actually paying for it, be different. But the city was supportive. NYSERDA was there for us, and the payback was well within 3 years.
My company put in an enormous number. We rented some farmland in New Jersey right next to our building, and we put solar panels. I had nothing to do with it. I found out after the fact. Yeah. And the payback period there is like 2.5 years.
It's directly proportional to energy costs, obviously.
Right. No, I understand that. So.
Mr. Mayor, you were in the space for the ADAPT microunit announcement. Standing in that basement room flooded with natural light.
Sure.
I'm really sorry that we didn't walk over to see the geothermal then, but I invite you back to take a look at any time you have a free moment.
I'm going to see it in this place when they put it in. Good. Thank you. Good.
But just a comment on the, in terms of your solar field there, by the way, what you probably should have done was put geothermal, Bob Wyman, representing myself. Just a comment, you probably should have put geothermal underneath the solar panels.
They didn't ask me.
Right.
And I legally can't get involved in running my company, so they couldn't ask me. But in 252 days...
Who's Karen?
Anyway, I just wanted to say thank you for this. We've been talking about geothermal in the city, a small number of people for a long time. It's wonderful to see it finally happening. I think the update of the what was a 10-year-old manual to excellent form it's in now, combined with the study that's going to be done of geothermal, is really going to raise awareness of geothermal in the city and allow us to do some fact-based decision making. I was stunned last night at Cooper Union at the mayoral candidate debate sponsored by the New York Legal Conservation Voters, to hear 3 of the candidates mention geothermal as something in the future of New York City. I think we can probably say that this is the first mayoral campaign in the city where geothermal has risen to the level of being an issue. And that's great, and I think it's because of the awareness that has been raised by the discussions coming up to this bill and also by the geothermal, the manual.
When the next mayor does some of this, would you write me a letter and let me know?
Well, okay. Anyway, the one thing I would like to say is one thing that was dropped from various drafts of the bill that I hope that people will pay attention to, and that is we have some areas of the city that we know of right now without needing a study are marvelous candidates for geothermal. They're areas with a lot of space around them, particularly our parks and some of our low-income housing. One of the things I would like us very much to do in the future is to commit to a fossil fuel-free future for our parks and to require that all new construction in the parks be free of fossil fuel and in fact use the readily available solar and geothermal resources that are available to them in the grounds surrounding them. Geothermal can be put in the parks without any degradation of the aesthetics or the natural conditions of those parks, and we should ensure that, in fact, our parks, at least, are fossil fuel free in the future.
Good. Thank you.
My name is Jack Deanna. I'm the Executive Director of the Geothermal National and International Initiative. I'm also the Marketing Chairman for the International Ground Source Heat Pump Association. And on behalf of the geothermal heat pump industry, I would like to thank, I'm going to read this because it's too long for me to remember. I would like to applaud the state of New York, specifically the Mayor, Council Speaker Quinn, and Councilman Gennaro for the passage of this bill, which recognizes the value of geothermal heat pump technology, which uses the energy we already own, the energy under our feet, to provide heating, cooling, and water heating to residential, commercial, and institutional facilities in the 5-borough area. This 60-year-old technology has been supported by NYSERDA since 2001 and has had some success, but until recently has not yet been recognized as a viable solution to the various problems that are plaguing the city, like lowering our energy usage, reducing emissions, and creating jobs. The signing of this bill will support the increased use of this technology, which will deliver the triple E benefits of energy independence and security, environmental stability, and economic prosperity to the citizens of New York, and will create a sustainable energy future for generations to come. Once again, I applaud Mayor Bloomberg, Council Speaker Quinn, and Councilman Gennaro and his staff, not only for their vision, but for taking action, because as we all know, vision without execution is illusion. I look forward to working with the state of New York and right on. I've been doing this since 1985. I used to be 6'5", but it's gotten a little easier now. Thanks very much.
Good afternoon. My name is John Reiner. I'm with PW Grosser Consulting Engineering. I'm a geologist as well, like Chairman Gennaro, and I want to thank you all. And this is a wonderful day for the geothermal industry in New York City. I've been working in the geothermal industry as a designer and geothermal system analyst for about 12 years in the city in Long Island, and I've spoken to a lot of people about geothermal. A lot of presentations, and I've got mostly blank stares and a few, drinking bird imitations. So I'm happy to see that the city is turning their attention to this technology and drilling down a little bit deeper. I also, I've had the pleasure of working with all the city agencies that are involved with geothermal systems, and most recently I was very pleased to work with Alex and the DDC in the update of the geothermal heat pump manual. So I believe that document and the report that's going to be generated through this bill together are going to provide an excellent framework for people in the city residents, the city departments to go forward more confidently in deploying geothermal systems. Last thing I wanted to say, I also represent the Long Island Geothermal Energy Organization. It's a new grassroots organization just started within the last year. And we were pleased to have been asked to participate in the hearing back in June, which kicked this off, and we're equally pleased to see this, the efforts today. So, and we look forward to working with the city with the outcome of this bill and any future initiatives and actions. Thank you.
My name is Isabel Silverman, and I'm an attorney with the Environmental Defense Fund. I just wanted to thank you, Mayor Bloomberg, and the City Council for your leadership here. As you know, you phased out numbers, or you are phasing now out number 4 and 6 heating oil, and buildings are switching to natural gas and number 2 heating oil. Some of them put in a little bit of biodiesel, but we all know those are not renewable fuels except for the biodiesel. So this is something that is really now taking us to the next step of going to renewables, and hopefully we'll also increase the biodiesel a little bit, Councilmember Gennaro, right? And maybe the city buildings will burn more biodiesel, and I just wanted to thank you for your leadership. And of course also, buildings should become more airtight. They're like a high performance building so that we use less heating and less air conditioning, and then this should all come together and make us more carbon free. Thank you very much.
Actually, my company's building 2 buildings in London, and we're opening them up because in London it's easier just to cool with the natural air and rather than having a sealed building. Anyways, next.
Yeah.
Thanks, Isabel. Hi, I'm Paul Reale. I'm an environmental consultant. I'm an engineer, and I'm an educator. And I have a prepared statement. New York City has made some great strides and demonstrated leadership at city-level initiatives that mitigate